Good morning. I'm Dan McCleary with Tennessee Shakespeare Company. Welcome back to the Decameron Project. The date, April 15, our theme, Magnificence. And this can be in someone's head. It could also be one's public perception of the person, but it is joie de vivre. Henry James was born on this date in 1843. It's a shame we don't read more of Henry James, but you know, we don't read much of fiction anymore in school, do we? Henry James, well, he was a great pal of Edith Wharton, and he influenced her writing. He also influenced, well, he influenced thousands, but certainly Virginia Woolf, and I'd like to think he also influenced Henry Miller and those who came after him, who were known as the beat writers as well, like Ferlinghetti and Kerouac and Ginsberg. You may know him only through one title, The Turn of the Screw, but I also commend to you his Aspern papers. He said, and I may butcher the quote, but it's a short one. He said, "Do remember this. If you have been hated, you also have been loved." It is also the anniversary, well, give or take, we're not quite sure between the days. On this date in 1453, Leonardo da Vinci was born. Likely, inarguably, the world's greatest polymath. He was also one of the world's great procrastinators, and he regretted this even to his dying day, on his deathbed. You'll know him for painting the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper and the Vitruvian Man who does this, you know, the nude male figure. And he was a southpaw, he was a lefty. And in his notebooks, again, which I commend to you, and he was aware that his notebooks would live long after him, so he put all of his drawings and all of his writings on a subject on one page, so they didn't carry on. But I don't quite know I'm sure there's a name, a proper name for it, but it was mirror reflective writing. So he wrote, as he was a lefty, from the right side of the page to the left side of the page, and he did so in cursive. So he had to hold it up to a mirror to see what was going on. But today what I find really interesting is that before he was magnificent to the world, he was clearly magnificent to himself. There was, before anyone knew about him much, the court of Sforza, which was really the de facto ruler of Milan, had put out an all-call for military engineers throughout the country of Italy. And, well, young Leonardo decides, well, not only will I apply, I'm going to send forth a 10-point plan, and with all, quote-unquote, possible humility, will let him know that I am the young man for the job. Now, listen, I've edited this down. It's distilled, and you probably don't need to, therefore, reference it later on. There's a lot of words involved, as you might imagine. But here though, in its fullness, with regard to the points, are the 10 points in his, and take note, kids, this is how you interview for a job when you're not face-to-face. He writes, this is Da Vinci, he writes, "My most illustrious lord, having now sufficiently seen and considered the achievements of all those who count themselves masters and artificers of instruments of war, and having noted that the invention and performance of the said instruments is in no way different from that in common usage, I shall endeavor, while intending no discredit to anyone else, to make myself understood to your excellency, for the purpose of unfolding to you my secrets, and thereafter offering them at your complete disposal, and when the time is right, bringing into effective operation all those things which are in part briefly listed below. I have plans for a very light, strong, and easily portable bridge, with which to pursue and on some occasions flee the enemy and others, sturdy and indestructible, either by fire or in battle. I know how, in the course of the siege of a terrain, to remove water from the moats and how to make an infinite number of bridges. Also, I have methods for destroying every fortress or other stranglehold, unless it has been founded upon a rock or so forth. I also have types of cannon, most convenient and easily portable, with which to hurl small stones, almost like a hailstorm, and the smoke from the cannon will instill a great fear in the enemy on account of the grave damage and confusion. Also, I have means of arriving at a designated spot through mines and secret winding passages constructed completely without noise. Also, I will make covered vehicles, safe and unassailable, which will penetrate the enemy and their artillery. Also, should the need arise, I will make cannon, mortar, and light ordnance of very beautiful and functional design that are quite out of the ordinary. Where the use of cannon is impractical, I will assemble catapults and other instruments of wonderful efficiency not in general use. And should a sea battle be occasioned, I have examples of many instruments which are highly suitable either in attack or defense, and craft which will resist the fire of all the heaviest cannon and powder and smoke. In time of peace, I believe I can give as complete satisfaction as any other in the field of architecture, and the construction of both public and private buildings, and in conducting water from one place to another. Oh, also, by the way, I can execute sculpture in marble, bronze, and clay. And likewise, in painting, I can do everything possible, as well as any other, whosoever he be. And if any of the above-mentioned things seem impossible or impractical to anyone, I am most readily disposed to demonstrate them in your park, or in whatsoever place shall please your excellency, to whom I commend myself with all possible humility. Leonardo da Vinci. Oh, well, he was hired, and then about 10 years later, His Excellency commissioned him to paint The Last Supper. In Love's Labour's Lost, play of magnificent words, feast of language. Well, there's this Spanish knight-errant at the center of it, well, in the woods, and his name is Don Adriano de Amado. And he has a mission in life, and that is with regard to his gallantry and his sense of honor on the field of battle. The sense of romance or falling in love does not figure into his mission, and yet he meets in the woods the country wench, Jaquanetta. Oy, I do affect the very ground which is base. Wear her shoe which is baser. I, guided by her foot which is basest, doth tread. I shall be forsworn, which is a great argument of falsehood, if I love. And how can that be true love, which is falsely attempted? Love, oh, he's a familiar. Love is a devil. There is no evil angel but love. Yet, was Samson so tempted, and he had an excellent strength? Yet was Solomon so seduced, and he had a very good wit. Cupid's butt shaft is too hard for Hercules' club, and therefore too much odds for a Spaniard's rapier. Oh, the first and second cause will not serve my turn. The passado he respects not, the duello he regard not. His disgrace is to be called boy, but his glory is to subdue men. Adieu, valor, rust, rapier, be still, drum, for your manager is in love. Yea, he loveth. Assist me, some extemporal god of rhyme, for I am sure I shall turn sonnet. Devise wit, write, pen, for I am for whole volumes in folio. Read Love's Labour's Lost, by the way. Or I hope we'll produce it soon so you can see it better yet. By the way, I'm off script now, but I want to say something real quickly, because I've seen a good bit of it on social media. You know, Shakespeare didn't write King Lear during a quarantine. Pretty sure of that. What we think is so is that after the turn of the century, 1600, you know, the playhouses were open about as much of the time as they were closed. More than 30 people died in a week. They closed the public gathering places like theaters. That said, though, the play he very well might have, and I think did, write during the plague, the time of extended self-quarantine, is Coriolanus. Take a look at just the first scene where Menenius speaks. And it's the body politic, but Shakespeare lifts it directly from Plutarch. And you know what was going on at the time, not only did Shakespeare's mother just die, but also there were the corn riots in the Midlands where the very rich had taken from the poor and they were storing the corn grain. And Shakespeare speaks directly to this modern, current event by using ancient Roman history, the story of Plutarch. And see what Menenius says about government and how the people should respond to government action. One of the things he says dutifully is pray. And then notice how many times the word boil or measles or something with regard to a skin irritation or sickness get used in Coriolanus. It's a play worth rereading right now. Thank you so much for joining me. We send you lots and lots of love. We send you healthy thoughts, and I look forward to seeing you again for the Decameron project. Goodbye.